Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Chtib Zhang show. Another week, another episode. We have Jake Paul versus Ben Askren fight. We got the Masters weekend we're going to talk about. And of course, Julian Edelman and LaMarcus Aldridge, both respectively retiring from their respective leagues. We're going to talk about them and the Hall of Fame. But as always, first, roll it! Welcome back to the Chtib Zhang show. It is episode 16. I'm Chtib. That is Zhang. Another week, another episode. And Eric, speaking of weeks, it is round 2 of our playoff fantasy hockey. We both made it through. I was the 8th seed going into the playoffs. I beat or I upset the first seed, we could say.
Exactly.
So I am moving on to round 2. You were the 2nd seed going in.
I was a second seed, and we're in the semis now. So
and you beat the 7th seed?
7th seed, yeah.
So pretty easy matchup for you. A bit harder for me, but big upset on my part. But now I'm facing the commissioner of the league.
Yeah.
So another big matchup before the final. Hopefully I can come through. Yeah, just another week. Trying to make it, try and win that pot of $500.
So excited.
Some
Even if I
roster
make
moves.
the
You got some
finals.
decisions to make, don't you?
Oh, for sure. I have a lot of because I don't know if I want to play McKinnon because Avalanche they had their games postponed.
Yeah, they only played two games
this week. But McKinnon, 2 games of McKinnon is probably better than 3
know.
games of Monahan, to be honest.
Yeah, Sean Monahan
So-
on your bench.
Yeah.
Yeah, some tough. In my case, I don't have a lot of people who are playing 4 games this week,
Okay.
so a lot of 3 games. So I'm gonna have to figure out if maybe I potentially want to add someone off the waiver wire, or do something, or if that's just if I'm just gonna roll with the lineup I have. I got Kane, Pasternak, Hurdle, Elias Lindholm, and I'm missing a forward, Sean Couturier. That's it.
Not
And
bad.
I got Jacob Chinchron, who I drafted late, Dougie Hamilton, and Heiskanen. I think I'm playing over Alec
Heiskanen.
Martinez, who
Okay.
plays 3. I'm going
Should
with
have
the
traded me
games 4.
Heiskanen though. Should have given me Heiskanen, but
Yeah, but see, now I need Heiskanen because he's playing 4 this week against Detroit. So it's a big week. So we'll be looking forward to giving you updates on what happens this week if we make it or we don't make it. But try and maybe predict in the comments who you think's going to make it or not. Eric has the better team overall, I think. But my team was a sneaky team, I'd say.
for sure.
Because I did draft Pasternak when he's injured. I went 0-3 to start the season, but I battled back.
And let's
Wait,
not
6-7
here.
record.
Let's not jinx it here. You have won it before as the 8th. Right?
Yes,
Knock
as
on
the
wood.
rookie of the year.
Exactly.
So pretty exciting stuff on my part. Hopefully I can be a 2-time champ. But let's move on to one of our main topics was the Jake Paul versus Ben Askren fight that happened last night. Was it April?
No,
2 nights ago. Saturday. Very anticipated fight. Jake Paul came out. Obviously, he talked the talk and he walked the walk. About what was it? A minute in, knocked out Ben Askren with a simple 1-2. Shocked the world, shocked the boxing world, shocked Twitter, shocked everyone.
Yeah.
And honestly, Eric, I look at this fight and I see the outcome and I just begin to question everything.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I begin to question everything. What makes sense anymore? Because this was supposed to be Ben Askren's fight. He was the under.
Okay, I'll be honest. Ben Askren, you can
Listen,
ask whoever you want. I told everyone I knew Jake Paul was gonna destroy him. I'm telling you right now. Even though I'm a UFC fan, I'm in the MMA community. I've also been following YouTube and YouTube boxing. Jake Paul was gonna destroy Ben Askren 100%.
This is the question. How do you come up with that? How do you just say that and just look at Jake Paul's career or boxing career? Just look back. He fought Nate Robinson, who's 5'4" and a retired basketball player, has 0 boxing experience, and then he beat the first guy who was another YouTuber.
Okay, but you have to see it like this. Jake Paul, he's been in boxing for 2.5 to 3 years. He's been putting the work. Like everyone, he sparred a bunch of MMA fighters, boxers, and they all every time they say, "Oh yeah, Jake Paul, he's gonna win." Like everyone he's sparred has said something good about Jake Paul, and also Ben Askren is probably one of the worst strikers in UFC history. You have to take that into consideration. But the only reason people gave Ben Askren a chance was, oh, he's an MMA fighter. He's taken hits from some of the strongest, like this guy called Robbie Lawler in the MMA and the UFC. This guy is so powerful, and with their gloves in the UFC, Ben was taking shots after
Yeah,
shots and didn't get knocked out. And then Jake Paul hits him with the most
that's what I'm
basic
saying.
the most basic punch in
One,
boxing. Hits
two.
him with a 1-2. I could
That
hit
I guess
anyone with
begs the question, Eric. Was this a fixed fight? Was
I
Ben
don't believe
Askren
no.
on it or in it the whole time? Did Jake Paul slide him an extra bag of cash and say, "Listen,
No.
this is what's
No.
gonna happen"?
I don't think so. You also have to see like this. Ben Askren, he's 36. He's retired. He's one of the worst strikers in UFC history.
Clearly
If you
didn't
look,
train for the
oh yeah,
fight.
this
Clearly
guy
didn't
looked like a
train in the
beanbag.
weigh-in.
Literally looked like Charles Barkley over there.
But
And
I'll be
like,
honest, when I saw the dad bod, I thought I was literally about to bet more money on him.
oh yeah,
But
because you thought the odds were gonna get messed up.
I just don't know. I just thought it was like the fact that he didn't care that much.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought he was so confident going into the fight, and the dad bod just made me trust him more. And
But he
clearly, I
wasn't
was wrong.
confident. If you listen to his press conference, he was like, "Oh, I'm if Jake Paul's a good boxer, I'm gonna lose. If Jake Paul's a bad boxer, I'm gonna win." That's what he was saying. He's like, Ben Askren's like, "I know I'm not a good boxer, but if Jake Paul's a good boxer, he's gonna beat me. If he's not, I'm gonna beat him. But I don't believe he's a good boxer." So that just shows me that he wasn't really confident. And Jake Paul was like, "Oh, bet on it," and then Ben Askren wouldn't say anything. So it just showed me that he wasn't that confident. And I I I know like a lot of people have been talking like I've seen a lot of videos like Jake Paul has been putting in the work. A lot from this fight he's gaining a lot of respect, but this is what he's doing right now. He's just trying to climb up the ladder, right? So he starts with a YouTuber and then he goes to an athlete
Yeah.
and then now he goes to a fighter who's not a good striker and then now he's going to go up another step. So I'm guessing next it's going to be probably an MMA fighter who's like Tyrone Woodley like not a
Well,
like a really good
there's
fighter, but
Dylan
like
Francis that's calling Jake
Dylan
Paul
Dennis,
out.
Dylan Dennis.
Dylan Dennis, sorry.
But no one likes. I hate Dylan Dennis with a passion. I really don't like Dylan Dennis. This guy's a troll. He thinks he's all that. And you probably know Dylan Dennis. He's a you know Khabib when he had that fight with Connor.
No,
and then had
I know who he is. I've seen his face
yeah.
before. And
So he's just a troll. This guy, he's just looking for. I really don't like him. He I don't know if that fight happens. I'd actually be like I don't really like Jake Paul that much, but I respect what he's done for boxing and what he's been able to accomplish. But if Jake Paul fights Dylan Dennis, I want Jake Paul to beat the shit out of Dylan Dennis so bad.
really,
I really don't like Dylan Dennis, and I believe like if Jake Paul fights Dylan Dennis like that because Dylan Dennis he's not even known as a striker either. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. So if he beats him, it's just like it doesn't hold. Like if he fights like a Tyrone Woodley or like an actual amateur fighter for a boxer or like someone that holds value, like it'd be better for Jake because every time Jake Paul fights at the end, all you hear is Nate Robinson's not good, like Ben Askren's not good. So it's always like excuses for his opponents
excuses, yeah.
because people don't like Jake Paul, so they're just watching the fights to see him lose, right? But then he keeps winning all the time. So and Jake Paul said a bunch of times he's doing all this. He just wants to fight Conor McGregor. It would be if he was ever able to climb up the ranks and be able to fight Conor McGregor, you know how
that would sell millions.
Yeah, for sure.
Pay-per-view. You said it that Jake Paul has made a lot of enemies. A lot of people hate him.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going against him. And he's called out a lot of people as well. McGregor, Nate Diaz, even Dustin Poirier too.
Yeah.
So then, the question is, who's next? Who's Jake Paul fighting next? Who's the most realistic or the potential? What's the most realistic potential matchup?
Yeah, I saw an odds on who the best odds for him to fight next. So maybe Dylan Dennis is up there. Dylan Dennis been talking a lot, but realistically, Dylan Dennis is not a. People want him to go higher than Dylan Dennis. They think Dylan Dennis wouldn't be too much of a challenge because Jake Paul would probably be the favorite in the fight. People want to see Jake Paul be the underdog, right? But it's up to Jake Paul to decide who wants to fight because he's the attraction here. So there's Tyrone Woodley, so who's one of Ben Askren's friends, really good friends. You probably saw that video of him in the locker room. He was they already have like a little beef going on there. And then there's there's another fighter that fought on that card. Like I just saw that quickly, but his name's like Joe Fournier. I didn't even see the fight, but apparently that guy's really good, and he had Jake Paul's ex girlfriend in his corner too. So maybe there's something going on there, and he's an experienced fighter too. So maybe that fight would be a good fight. People just want to see him fight an actual fighter. They don't like. He fought Ben Askren. Now you just got to go up another rank. So that's
Well,
that's
there's
all.
the case for KSI. Obviously, those
Oh
two
yeah,
have been
KSI for
linked
sure.
since Logan Paul and him went toe to toe
Yeah.
twice. Well, KSI has gone on record saying he plans on fighting Jake Paul,
Yeah.
but only when there's a full stadium allowed and people can come see the fight. That's when he plans on fighting Jake Paul.
Mm,
So maybe not KSI, the next
exactly.
potential fighter. Who knows if Jake Paul still wants to fight KSI after
Exactly.
he thinks
Yeah.
he's such a hot shot now? Maybe
Mm,
he asked for someone better, someone
mhm,
more popular in the boxing community or the
for
UFC
sure.
community.
For sure.
So only time will tell. Obviously, did you see that the pregame in the locker room with Pete Davidson and Jake
Yeah,
Paul?
yo, yeah.
That was
Pete Davidson was going
hilarious. Pete
at him.
Davidson, I loved it because he was talking to Jake Paul. He mentioned his was it sexual allegations or
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
something like that,
Mhm.
and just basically asked, "Are you good?" Like no jokes aside. And then he
Yeah.
went to Ben Askren's locker room and basically
Yeah.
talked shit about Jake Paul behind his back,
Yeah. That was
basically.
crazy. I was like,
So
wow. Okay.
who knows? Maybe Jake Paul will see a little Pete Davidson call out on Twitter
Okay.
maybe later. We'll see. Who knows?
No one wants to see Pete
Not a
Davidson.
fight request, but just a maybe he calls him out. Who knows? We'll see.
Maybe.
But yeah, just another exciting YouTube fight, Eric.
Yeah.
Just another
I'm,
one
I'm
of many.
excited because there's a lot of money behind Jake Paul. Let's be honest. There's a lot of money, and I know we don't want to get too into details about the sexual allegation thing, but
Well, I don't know.
but I watched a YouTube video that the girl came out with. No one really knows if it's true or not. People are giving her the benefit of the doubt. People
Yeah,
don't know. They don't know if they're just saying it because people don't like Jake Paul. Like
yeah.
really unsure. Like we're
I
not
have
sure
no
about
clue
anything.
about it. I'm not gonna say
But
anything I don't know about the subject.
exactly. So both camps are probably
Yeah.
gonna be suing each other. So
Hmm.
we're just gonna see what the result of that is gonna happen. So yeah.
Let's
So
move to the probably our last question on this topic. Obviously, there is controversy with YouTube boxing, right? You have a lot
Yep.
of iconic boxing icons come out and say this is an embarrassment to sport. A lot of sports media
Exactly.
um,
Yeah.
personnel saying that this is an embarrassment to the game. Others are saying, well, this is actually saving the game because the UFC has clearly taken over the number one spot in this
Yeah.
type of business over the boxing. So there's that. What side do you lean towards,
Okay.
Eric?
I'll be honest. I've been on kind of both sides because I started on like I started with the case. That's how I kind of got. I'll be honest. That's how I kind of got into fighting. I was a KSI fan like for a while. You probably know that. And
Hmm.
then he started boxing, so I kind of started watching boxing, MMA. So realistically, I'm through these type of fights. This is how I became like a fan of UFC and boxing. So it kind of shows that it actually kind of works. Like I was always like an MMA boxing fan, but this like helped
Yes.
me become even more of a fighting fan. So that actually like it actually works. And there's people like Mike Tyson and like even Tyson Fury,
Yeah.
like they think this is good for the sport.
Hmm.
Mike Tyson was talking about he's like sports never been healthier. Like it's so much attraction towards boxing. You've never seen this attraction since like Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. Like, but if you think about it, the only big fights that we ever talk about for boxing is Floyd versus someone. Floyd versus it's
Yeah.
always Floyd versus. You never hear any type of other fights like
Hmm.
Ryan Garcia. You see Ryan Garcia, he's starting to use social
Yes,
media.
Ryan Garcia.
He's trying to build something there. So it's you. So now boxing is going through social media to now become something bigger, right? So that's what you have to do because that's the society we live in now.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
like,
I was at first I didn't like it. Obviously, I don't think a
mhm,
lot of people liked it at first, but now
yeah,
that when you look at the numbers and the stats, they just don't
exactly.
lie. Just
Mhm,
basically the bare minimum of attention and fans that
mhm,
the sport gets through Jake Paul
mhm,
fighting or KSI
mhm,
Logan Paul, it builds the sport.
Mhm.
right? More
Mhm.
people are watching, more people are
Exactly.
paying to watch it. And, even though, some person or, an adult or boxing icon, whatever, who's been around the sports for years and, back in those glory days of the
Yeah.
70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. Yeah, I can see their point of view looking at the game now and being
Yeah,
like,
for
what the
sure.
hell
100%.
happened?
Yeah.
This used to be the number one thing in this type of business, but then Dana White kind of brought the UFC to that helm, and now they kind of fallen down to number one, that number two. But like you said, Mike Tyson said it. This is good for the sport.
Mhm.
This is good for young people to pay attention to the sport. Who knows?
Mhm.
Maybe there's that a lot of people who are Jake Paul fans, Logan Paul fans, YouTube fans, whatever, that are only going to
Yeah.
watch boxing when they fight. But
Mhm.
who knows what's that small percentage of those fans that just
Exactly.
stick
For sure.
around
Mhm.
and say, hey, listen, I'm kind of into the sport now.
Exactly.
I,
Hey,
I, I
it's
will
bring
never vote against
yeah,
that.
it's bringing attention. The only thing is, there's a lot of adults they've dedicated their life to these sports, and they're
That's what I'm
seeing all these
saying.
these kids
Yeah.
starting to watch the sport, not disrespect the sport, but because a lot of people have lost their lives inside
Hmm.
inside the ring. Like, it's a dangerous sport.
Yeah.
Like, people have to take it into account. Like, boxing is very dangerous. People spend like boxing is like literally life for some people, and then you have
Exactly.
like Jake Paul, who just starts boxing for fun.
But
But
hey, if Jake Paul's willing to give it his all
exactly, yeah,
and dedicate, like, then what's the big deal?
yeah,
If he's
exactly,
serious about it, then he's serious. Who knows if it's all about the
yeah,
money? But there was that claim where he was stepping aside from YouTube to focus on his career in boxing.
mm,
I don't know what he plans on doing, but he's 3-0 right now. So we'll see for what's next for Jake Paul. We know his brother Logan's going to be fighting Floyd Mayweather soon. That fight keeps
yeah.
getting delayed, so we'll have to wait for that one. But let me tell you something. If Logan Paul somehow beats Floyd
Oh
Mayweather in
no,
a
there's no
fight,
way. There's no way.
then that's like
There's
me
no.
waking up from the simulation, Like we said it
Yeah.
yesterday. Remember the Avengers scene from that bald lady from Doctor Strange
Yes. Yes.
touches
Yes.
the Hulk and Bruce
Yeah.
Banner comes
Yeah.
out of the
Literally.
Hulk and in
Yeah.
like in a spirit? That would be me
Yeah.
coming out of my body like that. I'd be like,
No. No.
what the
There's
heck?
no way.
And I'd be
There's no way.
awoken from the simulation.
There's no way.
I would question everything. I
Yeah.
would
Because if
question
that
everything.
happens,
I would question
everyone who's
everything.
dedicated their lives to the sport would literally question every
Oh, the
person on
world would
earth
flip.
would
Nothing would
question
make
everything.
sense. Nothing would make
Exactly.
sense.
Like, what's the point of training? What's the point of literally one of the
Nothing would make
greatest
sense. Could I
fighters of
beat
all
LeBron
time?
in basketball 1-on-1? I don't
Yeah.
know. I wouldn't know.
Exactly.
I would no.
Yeah.
But yeah, just another YouTube fight, as we say. We'll see what happens for Jake Paul moving on. Who he'll fight next, I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. But until now, we'll have to wait.
Mhm.
As we move on, Eric, from boxing, we move into our first segment ever in golf that we are talking about.
Yeah.
Masters weekend, April 8th to April 11th, the Masters happen. And Eric, history was made when
Yeah.
Hideki Matsuyama, the first male Japanese born player to ever win the Masters. And like I said, as you just heard, he did win the Masters. He came first. He went -10 through
Yeah.
18. I think I forget what his final was. It 73 or something like that. I believe he shot,
Wait,
but he
total?
made, yeah, in
I think it
total
was
at
like
the end.
-62 or something. I think the last, because how it
Well,
works is,
he went -10 through
yeah. So
18.
it's
But
so
what's
it's
the
it's it starts. So I think it's -62. It starts at 72
I don't know
or
if there's
whatever.
a negative.
Oh, no, I mean,
-62.
he
Yeah,
got
yeah, yeah.
62. 62.
I don't know if it was that. I don't know if it was 62. I think it was 73. I
Sure.
think or
I know
something
he
like
got. I know
that.
he had 73 in the last day. That's all I
No
know.
clue. Something like that. But he
Maybe that's on
he
the
he
last
won.
day.
He
Yeah.
came an outcome of $2.07 million. He won.
Yeah.
Like we said, he's the first male Japanese player to ever win uh, a major championship. He has 15 worldwide wins, 8 career top 10 finishes in major championships.
Yeah.
He has 4 President Cup appearances, and just another great story to go along with Japan. Most likely the second biggest country when it comes to golf, behind the United States. So
Mhm.
just a great thing for that sport, an inspiration for young
Mhm.
players, male or female, to see that big win at Masters weekend.
For sure.
It's probably an incredible thing for that country. Just FYI, he's not the only person from Japan to ever win a major championship. There were two Japanese women to have won major championships. Hisako Aguchi, she won the 1977 LPGA championship, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names. Hanaku Shibuno, she won the 2019 Women's British Open.
Yep.
So just 2 years apart from that, and yeah, just another great storyline in golfing.
Sure.
We were lucky enough to have Tiger win it. What was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And then
2 years
Dustin
now.
Johnson won it, and
Yeah.
now just a Japanese man will have won it, and you could tell by the way the commentators were commentating the game. Some of them were tearing up. I know the Japanese commentators are very emotional. Obviously, commentating the game for so long, and finally, someone of your own culture wins it.
Yeah.
That's just incredible. The irony of this, of course, him winning this 10 years ago, when he first played in the Masters when he was 19 years old. He was a 19-year-old Asian Amateur Championship winner from Japan, and he earned low amateur honors. Amateur. So, also for those who don't know what was going on in Japan at the time, in March 2011, there was an earthquake that actually struck the Tohoku region of Japan, and so there were a lot of tsunamis that happened because of that, and his accommodations back home were actually destroyed. And so 10 years later after that, from 19 to 29, he wins his first major championship, and it's the Masters. So just another impressive outcome, a great story for Japan. Let's talk about who came third or fourth, I believe, was Xander Schofley's. Yeah, Xander Schofley. He was actually neck and neck with Matsuyama through the 16th, but he hit a triple bogey on the 16th. So it was close at one point. He was catching up. He was only down by 2, and then he got a triple bogey, and that threw him into a tie with third. And not only did he not get sole possession of second, Eric, he actually missed out when it came to his final paycheck at the end of the day. If he were to come sole possession of second, he would have won $1.2 million. But since he came third, he won $667,000, which makes a $575,000 difference because of that one hole on the 16th.
Oh, that's what golf is. That's all golf is about. If people didn't know, I come from a golf family. Everyone in my family plays golf except me.
Yeah,
but
that is true.
So my brother plays golf pretty intensely. Like he tells me all the time, like it's literally a game of like not even inches, like less than inches. Like it's ridiculous how precise you have to be and the mental strength that you need to play golf. Everything matters. Like when I was younger, I've watched golf my whole life. I never really paid attention or played it seriously, but I've watched these games. Like it gets serious. Like it's so intense.
Oh yeah.
When they're putting it, you know how much stress you have to be going through. It's literally shooting like a free throw like every game. You're just shooting free throws, and you're expected to make it's a hard sport.
Yeah, you say that it is a hard sport and very intense. One of the things people were actually catching and observing from Matsuyama's game is usually he doesn't smile at all when he plays golf, and he doesn't crack jokes. He doesn't smile. But the one thing he was doing on Masters weekend was smiling a lot more. He was a lot more happy, I guess, smiling. That's something you didn't see from his game. And I guess you could say that's why he was so calm and relaxed and was able to come first. I guess, he didn't really think much of it and just played his game. And I guess that's all he needed to do. So he comes first. Xander Schofley, who was neck and neck with him, tied for third. I want to talk about who came second, though, Eric, and that is Will Zalatoris, the young American who's 24. He finished second in his Masters debut. So this was his Masters debut. He came second, continuously exceeding expectations. For those who don't know, Will Zalatoris, I think he's from California. He's born. But he keeps exceeding expectations, and he could be a possible favorite for next year's Masters too. So this is a guy that just keeps going up.
Nice.
Didn't expect him to finish in the top 5, and here he is finishing second. Kind of reminds you of Dustin Johnson when he finished second to Bubba Watson, I think. He was young too. He was a runner-up. So, let's talk about Dustin Johnson too. He had a slow Masters. Eric wasn't able to really finish on his putts, and didn't really capitalize late when he should have. Just got off to a slow start and was never really able to recover, and that's why he didn't have such a great Masters this year. Trying to defend his title, very hard to do, and he wasn't able to. But he was able to congratulate Matsuyama on his win and hand him the green jacket. So that's something, the luxury you get to do when you win Masters and you come back for that second time. You get to be in the clubhouse at the end of the day. So Masters weekend, Eric, obviously we don't talk much golf. We don't really follow the sport, but Masters weekend's always fun. I watched it.
Exactly.
I want to watch more golf because I was really into this year's Masters. Very exciting stuff. And so I plan on getting into more golfing, major championships.
We gotta start golfing soon.
Well, I'm not a very good golfer. So I didn't really grow up.
Clubs. I know you have clubs in your garage.
I mean, everyone has clubs, Eric. Right? It's golf. Everyone owns clubs. Somehow, eventually you're gonna end up owning clubs. It's just one of the things becoming a father, I guess, or a mother who, my grandparents, they play golf. Grandfather's 94. He still plays golf. He loves it. So,
it's one of those.
One of these days you'll own a golf. Yeah. One of these days we'll own golf bags of our own name, even though we won't play.
Oh, I already have one of my own name. I just don't play golf.
See, I don't have clubs, but when I own my clubs, and I will, let me tell you, I will own my own golf clubs.
Okay, nice.
I definitely won't be golfing though, but I will own them.
Okay,
maybe nice. With the guys on a Sunday or Saturday or something like that. But that's way down the line for me. Way down the line. So as we move from golf and the Masters, Eric, we move to our next subject for the NFL and NBA, we could say, where Julian Edelman and LaMarcus Aldridge both respectively retire from their respective sports. Edelman, it was kind of not a shock, I would say, but very much of a surprise.
Yeah, for sure.
And LaMarcus Aldridge, due to medical reasons, his heart, he had to retire.
Yeah.
And Eric, obviously those are two great players in their respective sports, but the question that begs is, are both players eligible to be Hall of Famers? Okay. Will Julian Edelman make the Hall of Fame? Will LaMarcus Aldridge, most likely he will make the Hall of Fame, but can he be that first ballot Hall of Famer?
Exactly.
Let's get into it. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with
you want to start with Edelman?
Yeah, let's start with Edelman. So I believe Edelman, he didn't, it was so weird. How old is he? He's 33 only. Yeah. I still thought he still had some in the he still had some juice in the tank.
Yeah.
But what is it It was really because he didn't pass his physical or something. So then
I know. I don't know if it was. For me, when I first looked at it, I thought Bill Belichick and the Patriots were kind of pushing him to retire and pushing him out. So that's what my initial thought was. But I don't know. Maybe he just called it quits.
But also, you can't forget last season, he really didn't have a good season.
No.
I had him in fantasy, drafted him pretty disappointing. He didn't really have a good season. But, just having a veteran like Julian Edelman in the locker room, and he's still a good wide receiver. So I don't know why they retired. He's probably going to do something with the Patriots organization.
Oh, yeah, you think?
If you think about Julian Edelman, you think about Patriots. It just goes hand in hand.
He's for sure going to be a Patriots Hall of Famer, we could say. Definitely going to be one of the best Patriots to ever play.
100%.
But the real question is Julian Edelman ready to be inaugurated into the Hall of Fame? Let's look at his stats.
Yeah, look at his stats first.
Regular season and postseason. His regular season stats aren't that good, but he was a big injury-prone guy throughout his career. But he had 620 receptions, which was good for 6,866 receiving yards. Yeah. He had 36 receiving touchdowns, and he had 58 rushes for 413 yards. Yeah. Those yardage ranks him 156 on NFL history. Yeah. And in NFL history, and his receiving touchdowns are tied for 261st. So, as we know, Julian Edelman not known for his regular season. performance. He's really known for his playoff performance there because his playoff stats are incredible. 19 games played. He has 118 catches, 1,422 yards, 7 touchdowns, 3 Super Bowls, and one of them was a Super Bowl MVP in 2019 versus the Rams, where he had 10 receptions for 141 yards on 12 total targets from Tom Brady. So, Eric, you got to look at it both ways.
Yeah,
First of all,
sure.
the first question is the Hall of Fame, okay, in its definition. What does the Hall of Fame look at throughout a player's career, okay? Does it look more at its regular season or does it look more at its playoff stats?
So obviously, it probably looks for everything, right? Because you have people like Calvin Johnson who basically never made the playoffs, who are like, but just because people know him, like he's a good wide receiver.
Yeah.
And the thing with Julian Edelman is, he like if you look at his stats in the regular season, it's probably like the same level as like Cole Beasley stats in the regular, something like that. But in the playoffs, this guy's incredible, very clutch, great leader, and like. But does that hold enough value? Do the rings carry what he did in the regular season? Because I think for the Hall of Fame, it looks at overall. It just, are you a good player or not? Are you one of the greatest to do it in the game or not? And if you look at in terms of impact, Julian Edelman is an impact player, like especially in the playoffs. He shows up in the big moments. So it's just up to the Hall of Fame committee or whatever it's called to look at Julian Edelman's career and see if the playoffs holds enough value for him and if the rings and the performances in the playoff is enough. But you also have to take in consideration there's players like Ward, Nelson,
Jordy Nelson, who've had better regular season careers,
way better,
way better careers than Julian Edelman, but they are not in the Hall of Fame, right? So
exactly. So a lot of people think he's definitely not a first ballot or second ballot. So people think we're gonna have to wait for like maybe decades before.
Well, people are waiting.
Yeah,
people are asking. Forget about first ballot, second ballot. Is this guy gonna make the Hall of Fame?
Exactly.
Right. You say there are a lot of great players to not make it. One player for sure who is going to make it first ballot Hall of Famer is Tom Brady, as we know, potentially the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. Let us remind you that his favorite target was Julian Edelman, right? He helped a guy like Tom Brady win Super Bowls, helped a guy like Tom Brady build his legacy, right? We got to keep that in mind.
Or maybe Tom Brady helped Edelman build.
Potentially, yeah, but it's kind of a relationship that it both worked out for both of them, right? They both helped each other out. And, obviously, will the Hall of Fame committee take that into account? Probably, most likely not. They're most likely going to look at his individual game.
Exactly.
And for me, when it comes to the playoffs and Super Bowls and playoff matchups, that's where it matters, right? That's where it matters to me. And when a guy like Julian Edelman, this clutch in the postseason comes out like this, I mean, Eric, his postseason stats are incredible, phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
And it boggles my mind how his regular season looks that bad. I mean, he, like I said, injury prone. He got injured a lot, but still, I mean, it boggles my mind because this people will be looking. Everyone knows his postseason career, but people are going to be contradicting that with his regular season career. Yeah. And I have no clue, Eric. I can't judge someone to make the Hall of Fame or not. I don't have that knowledge or experience to do that. Like we said, we named so many players who've had better careers than Julian Edelman not make the Hall of Fame. And I think the only thing that I have to say is that the fact that the Hall of Fame question is so, intensely debated, hotly debated, you could say, for me, it's like a testament to his impact on football.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Right? I mean, people are. You can go on Twitter and just type in Julian Edelman, and there's going to be thousands of tweets of people just going back and forth and saying, "Well, this is why he should make it, or this is why he shouldn't make it." And that I look at this and it's a testament to how much Julian Edelman did for the game of football.
Exactly.
And would I love to see Julian Edelman in the Hall of Fame? Yeah, I think he deserves it. I mean, just basically, I think the biggest thing they should be looking at is his Hall of Fame or his postseason career. I mean, this guy showed up, and that's one thing I think they should be looking at more. Who cares about the regular season? I mean, the Patriots were a loaded team. I mean, with Tom Brady at the helm, like they were making the postseason nonstop. But it was about that question about building a dynasty, is if they can do it year after year, right? And they did do that, and Julian Edelman was a big part of that.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm kind of looking. That's how I'm looking at it, really.
Okay. Fair.
Is this postseason stats? They are Hall of Fame worthy. So
Fair. Yeah. But because I feel like if you just look at the postseason, there's gonna be so many players in the Hall of Fame. They barely play in the postseason, and like Calvin Johnson's a
Yeah.
perfect example. This guy barely played in the postseason, but he was so like if you look at like his talent, he was so good that he was able to make the Hall of Fame. But that was also different because he has like his 2,000-yard seasons and things like that. But Julian Edelman, like if you look like because his regular season really wasn't good. Like it really 36. Like he's a very good player. Like don't get me wrong, that catch he made against the Falcons, we were watching live. Well, that
Oh yeah,
that was
that
ridiculous.
was one of the best catches I've ever seen.
Oh my! When we were watching that, did we think he made that catch? I still don't remember. Did we think he made that catch?
Well, obviously, I think when everyone saw that play happen, they didn't think he made the catch. But when you see it on the slow mo and on the big board, you're like, "Holy
And you see
crap,
his
he made that
hands go
catch!"
like, yeah,
Just catch it before it falls. His hands just
Yeah.
came in and caught it before it fell. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the greatest catches
oh
I've
for
ever
sure.
seen.
Yeah.
So it's just moments like that, right? How clutch he is, how big of a catch that was for the Patriots to win their Super Bowl. I mean, it's just the guy's got ice in his veins, and when it comes to the playoffs.
But I'll be honest, Tom Brady, people are gonna be like, "Oh, Tom Brady carried him," things like. But Julian,
I don't like that.
Yeah, if you give him a QB, he's making that catch anyways, right? So, like,
put any wide receiver with Tom Brady. I mean, talk about Tom Brady, a testament to the game. I mean, I don't think Tom Brady carried Julian Edelman. I mean, any receiver would want to be in Julian Edelman's position, playing like a guy with Tom Brady who could get you the ball where exactly he wants it to be. I mean, if you're just I wouldn't say an average wide receiver, but Julian Edelman obviously average numbers in the regular season. Could a guy like Jordy Nelson, who if he was playing with Tom Brady, could he have? I mean, he was playing with Aaron Rodgers. But as we know, we've talked about Aaron Rodgers and the struggles to get to the Super Bowl and win Super Bowls. Imagine a guy like Jordy Nelson was playing with Tom Brady. I mean, who knows what his numbers in the regular season would have been, and who knows what his playoff numbers would have been? Would they have been the same as Edelman? Probably not, because that's super hard to replicate. But could he have made the Hall of Fame playing with a guy like Brady?
Maybe. Well, we'll never know. So, if it was up to me, I'd probably say 60% that he makes the Hall of Fame one day, and 40% he won't. So, I'd give it a chance. It's probably closer to 50,
because I don't know. I have no clue how many years of eligibility you get to get into the Hall.
Yeah.
I know baseball. There's years of eligibility where sometimes it's your last chance to get on the Hall of Fame ballot. So I don't know what it is in football, if there even is one. 60-40 for me, it's like a 50-50 at this point.
Yeah, it's probably closer to 50-50
because I have no clue how the Hall's looking at it. Right? I mean, they got to take into account other people. Right? If they want to bring in Julian Edelman, then people are going to bring up players that didn't get into the Hall and be like, "What the heck, man? This guy gets in, but not this guy." So, we'll see.
You're gonna have players like Chad Ochocinco, who's actually a really good wide receiver.
Really,
who put
one of the best route runners in the game.
Exactly, put way better numbers than Julian Edelman. Be like, "Yo, why is Julian Edelman here? Look at my stats."
Yeah. So I don't know. So it's really hard to make the NFL Hall of Fame, number one.
Sure. Yeah.
Which we'll see is a big difference compared to the NBA Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
When we'll get to that. But it's about 50-50 for me. I have no clue if he's going to get in or not. If I had to put money on it, I don't even know. I think his playoff numbers sit alone. I think he's going to go on based solely on that. He doesn't go in because of his regular season. He does not go in because of his regular season. 100%. He goes in because of his playoff
But the fact that it is an argument, it shows that it's a 50-50 basically.
Yeah.
Like people it's on both sides. So there's arguments for both sides.
So I have no clue. I couldn't tell you if it's too early to say. Actually, it's not too early. I mean, I could say yes or no, but I don't want to be on the hype train. Everyone's hyping Julian Edelman out, and that's why maybe he gets in. Sorry, that sounded really bad. He gets in because he's a great player, right? Okay. But he's getting hyped up a lot right now. And people, because, Julian Edelman, what he did with the Patriots and the legend he became, there are a lot of supporters on his side and all of Boston's on his side. So a hard decision the Hall of Fame committee has to make. Very hard. Does he get in? What did you say again? Do you think he gets in? Yes or no?
I don't know. Yes. No.
Yes.
No.
Okay, then I'm gonna go with no. I'm
I'm gonna
always gonna
say
contradict Eric.
okay.
So
Sure.
you go yes, I go no. Because that
I feel
we can't
yeah.
both be yeses.
Fair.
We gotta have a 50-50. One of us has to be
Exactly.
right.
Yeah.
That's just brain things.
That's how we think. Yeah. And then, yeah.
Well, another shorter episode than usual, but we thought we had to talk about these three biggest topics that happened in the
Wait, we didn't
sports
talk about
world.
LaMarcus Aldridge, man.
Oh my God, we didn't talk about LaMarcus
We can
Aldridge.
talk
You're
about
right.
him for 2
I almost
seconds.
ended. Yes, we'll talk about LaMarcus Aldridge. Yes, LaMarcus Aldridge retired as a Brooklyn Net due to his heart condition. He had to retire. So the question also for LaMarcus Aldridge is, will he make it to the Hall of Famer? The Hall of Fame, most likely, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
most
Will it be a first ballot Hall of Famer? Probably not.
no.
But let's look at some of his career stats. He's played over 1,000 games, 1,029 games played. He's at over his career, he's averaged 19.4 points, 8.2 total rebounds, 2 assists, 49% from field goal percentage, and 32 from three. And he's a 5-time All NBA player. He he's third all time in Blazers history when it comes to scoring, leads the franchise in total rebounds, and he's a 7-time All-Star, and he was on that 2006-2007 All-Rookie team. Played for the Blazers, Spurs, and Nets. LaMarcus Aldridge, Eric, is he making the Hall of Fame? Eric?
100%. And like, there's no question he's making the Hall of Fame. 100% he's making the Hall of Fame. The question is, he's not going to be first ballot. So he's going to make the Hall of Fame because the NBA Hall of Fame is really not that hard to make it into. And if you look at his numbers, 5-time All NBA, that's just that alone is good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Then you add 7-time All Star and
Yep.
almost 20, well, so close to 20,000 points.
Yeah. Was it 40 something?
48 off.
48 off.
Yeah. It's just unfortunate that he had to end his career so early because back in the day, LaMarcus Aldridge was. Oh, this guy was so good. LaMarcus Aldridge was great, especially on the Blazers too. Like if you look, I'd probably me and Gabe, we did a list. We had him at maybe 10th or 11th all-time best power forwards. We had him right under, like, not as good as Pau Gasol and stuff, but above Chris Webber, who's not in the Hall of Fame yet, but Chris Webber is eligible this year. He's nominated, but we're not. People aren't sure if Chris Webber is making the Hall of Fame, but LaMarcus Aldridge is a bit better than Chris Webber.
Yeah.
So I believe LaMarcus Aldridge will make the Hall of Fame. He's a very good player. But just a 5-time All NBA. If you can, that just means for 5 seasons we're top 15 players, and that's just that's good enough. That's good enough.
And also the 20,000. If he would have got 20,000 points, he would have been a lock, an absolute lock.
Yeah. No.
Only 40 something behind 48, like you said. So I think he gets in. Is he a first ballot? Probably not.
Probably not.
Right?
No.
Probably not.
There's still some great players that haven't gone in and haven't been first ballots. Yeah.
So LaMarcus Aldridge, the NBA Hall of Fame is much easier, of course, to make it than the NFL Hall of Fame because I believe it's all sports leagues basketball in that hall, right? In Japan too. So it's much more diverse. A lot more players get in. And so the NFL and NBA Hall of Fame, not comparable whatsoever. So that's why two different sports, two different players, two different situations when it comes to the Hall of Fame. And so that's basically.
Also, there's a lot less players in the NBA, right?
Yes, for sure. Than the NFL.
There's way less players. So
way less.
So if you're a good player in the NBA, like all you have to be is good. Like there's really not that many good players. So if you're the best player on your team, you're already one of the you're already up. So
of course. I mean, just look at all the current NBA players that are Hall of Famers, first ballot Hall of Famers, right?
So many.
There are so many in the NBA right now that are first ballot Hall of Famers, and there's no question about it. I mean, so LaMarcus Aldridge just misses out, in my opinion, on that first ballot Hall of Fame. Yeah. He'll get in though. So that's all obviously going to be a fantastic career accolade for him to be known as a Hall of Famer. So congratulations to both of these guys if they both end up making it. Nonetheless, both great players and both great careers for their both respective sports. And so we'll just have to look forward to see what happens to those two moving on in their careers moving forward. But that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Chtib Zhang Show, episode 16. Not a shorter episode now because we talked about LaMarcus Aldridge, but we had 3 topics we thought we should cover, 3 big topics that happen in sports. We cover them. And so we'll see you guys in next week's episode. Who knows what we're going to be talking about,
Yeah.
but stay tuned for that. So we'll see you later. Peace out.